Hello everyone, this is part 19 of What If Naruto Learned the Secret of Shadow Clone, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Naruto is standing tall across from Kyuki as he detailed the specifics from the letter he had received. The Hot Springs Daimyo had requested that they go and check on a village of outcast ninja that had nearly been forgotten about. The Daimyo at least wanted to make sure for certain whether the ninja was still alive or not. Kyuki had a worried smile on her face as Naruto claimed this should be a quick mission and they'll be back within a few days. Are you sure you should get this done? Kyuki had remembered the letter addressed to her as well. He did mention this wasn't a rush. Naruto was beginning to sweat. Well, if everyone thinks this clan is dead and they happen to be there, it could mean we could convince them to join us. And if not, it's another step towards bringing Hot Springs into our alliance. Kyuki pondered over that before nodding. It's sound reasoning, I supposed. Her eyes flicked to the two glaring girls at his shoulders. Hopefully you survive this one and come home. Naruto chuckled. I'm sure this'll be a quick one. Very fast. Back before you know it. Ino's eyebrow was twitching. You said we'd get a vacation. Tien. This is not a vacation. Hinata's Byakugan was active at the moment. I'm going to drag you back to bed and make you regret ever thinking about work again. Naruto nodded while maintaining eye contact with Kyuki. I'll be fine. Kyuki sighed, finally waving him away as Naruto made a pair of clones to stay behind with her. Sure. Well, your funeral. Bring me back a souvenir this time. Naruto saluted, tentatively held out his hands which the girls clamped onto, and they were gone. Kyuki looked up to the clones. You just can't stop working, can you? We tried. Not hard enough. Now here, this paperwork is dealing with internal affairs. We have. She hoped her co-wives didn't rough him up too badly on this trip. Far away, said trio was hopping along the trees towards the area the Hot Springs Daimyo had claimed the hidden clan had been exiled to. Naruto had donned his Oneman mask, taking the lead while Ino on his left took a brown Oni mask and Hinata took a blue Hanya mask. There was silence for a time, before Naruto sighed loudly and paused on a branch. It's the land of hot springs. How about after this and we check in with the Daimyo, we find a resort and hole up for a day or two. Ino was willing to forgive right away. You mean it? She had pulled free some of her new senbon, proceeding to sharpen them for effect just in case. You did tell us we would get some downtime once, and this is most decidedly not downtime. Absolutely. Hot spring resort, pampering, the works. Hinata needed further reassurance. No work, none. I mean it. I want good food, a warm bath, then you and a bed for a full day. Yes darling, no work. Your word is law. Then I approve and forgive you. Naruto breathed a sigh of relief as he jumped high above the tree cover to get his bearings again. Once back along with the others he frowned. How do you lose a clan? They started off towards the north again. Ino scoffed. When you put them in a place called the Valley of Hell, seems like you almost want them to die out. Naruto nodded, which like I said back in spring, if we do end up finding them, maybe we can convince them to come to Azu instead. It'd be our first ninja clan to join us. Hinata shook her head. Are we forgetting the Fuma? They're staying in Rice though. So allies yes, but official part of Azu no. They all lapsed into silence as in the air they could smell something foul. It took some travel among the trees in order to track the smell down, the only clue they had to the potential location of the valley, but eventually they did. Tree cover giving way to rocky terrain, they eventually stood over a valley nestled in a wide canyon. Thick mist settled over the area and from what they could see, blood-red water covered the bottom. Huh. Ino covered her nose. I could see why people would think they're dead, the water looks like blood. Hinata nodded. There's very little life here, but I detect chakra signatures. Naruto nods. Keep your masks on. We're doing this as Azushio, not individuals. Ino felt like teasing. Yes Lord Azukage. Hinata jumped in. Of course Lord Azukage. I'll never get used to that from any of you. Hinata leaned into his ear. Maybe you can make me scream it later. Naruto jolted and stood ramrod straight. Okay, that's it, we're finishing this quickly and finding a resort. And then he was leaping to run down the canyon wall. Behind him Ino and Hinata high-fived again before following along after him. Hinata kept her Byakugan active, pointing them in the correct direction. As they pass a pool of water, it is Hinata that makes the first comment on it. The water is teeming with particles. I guess that's where the red coloring is from. She's curious about it, but that's it. Ino, however, picks out something else. With my increased earth control, I bet I could control it. It's mostly iron and some other trace earth elements. Trailing some chakra from her fingers, indeed with the added earth control from her mask, the water responded to her. Something to keep in mind for later. Hinata perks up, heads up, large concentration of people ahead, looks like we found the village. Naruto nods, follow my lead, I want this over and done with, hopefully without any fighting. Yes, Lord Azukage. That they both said so in unison had Naruto shivering. Yeah, never going to get used to that. Finding the quaint little village, they take to the rooftops and make their way to the town square, where apparently a large argument is taking place. Below, two groups are facing off. One, happy to stay isolated, want nothing to do with the rest of Hot Spring. While the second wants to convert their village into a resort of its own, sure that they'll be able to make a more stable living than what they're doing now. Isolated and alone, they were beginning to finally crack under the pressure, and some feared it would wipe out the clan. Voices shouted back and forth, tempers were getting heated, and above them unnoticed, Naruto and his girls watched on in silence. Ino leaned down to whisper in his ear, should we step in? Naruto shrugged, in a minute, I wanna see if they bring up anything useful. Below, one of the men, an older man with longer light brown hair, stood in front of his wife and daughter. If we don't do something now, we're going to die out. The world has forgotten us. Surely you all see this. You just want to run away from our clan's problems, N. You don't actually care about the clan. N frowned and raised a fist. You wanna see how much I care about the clan, you bastard? Come say that to my face. I'll show you something to your face, asshole. Come here. Someone had pulled a rusty-looking knife when had prompted more weapons to show up. Naruto, however, had seen enough. Plopping down and crossing his legs with his hands on his knees, he called down to the assembled people, is this a clan-only argument? Or can I join in? Startled and stalling the impending brawl, everyone turned to look up towards the masked individual who was mocking them. N was at the front, however. Who the hell are you? Me. Naruto tilted his head as he knew they couldn't see his facial expressions. I'm just a wanderer. Someone sent to see just what became of the Chinook clan. Seems like you're ready to kill each other. The man who had been arguing with N, a taller man but having a lanky build, light clothing to endure the heat of the valley, he pointed at the boy. This is clan business, begone and leave us alone. Naruto nodded at that, considering it before throwing the thought away. I could, sure. Boo. I have a question. Seeing he had everyone's attention, Naruto slapped one of his knees. The world thinks you're dead. Do you really want to stay down here? Or would you consider my offer instead? Murmurs rose in the crowd, and while N was listening in, his rival Gosu wasn't happy about it. We don't need anything from you, outsider. We can take care of ourselves. Naruto nods again. I'm sure you can. That doesn't mean help can't be appreciated. Naruto placed one hand to his chest. My clan is rebuilding our ancestral home, and I want to bring in other clans like ours under our banner. Clans that have been betrayed, abandoned, left to die. Naruto leaned forward a bit, much like yours. His mask was whispering to him and it made him smile. Screw you. Leave or we'll make you leave. N, however, had a different thought. Gosu. We could at least hear him out. We don't know anything about the outside world anymore. And be betrayed again. Never. Gosu pointed a thick finger at Naruto. I'll never bow down to some weak kid. Naruto clapped his hands. That sounds like a challenge. Mismatched eyes began to glow from inside his mask. I accept. Come at me, and I'll put you down. Afterwards we can talk. Gosu paused, body trembling as adrenaline began to work through his system. Around him, a few of his loyalist comrades were with him ready to fight. Originally that had been against N and his group, but now this outsider was giving him a better target. I'll tell you what, boy. You and yours defeat us and we'll submit to you, no problem. Naruto clapped his hands again. Great. Makes this easy then. A hand came up, flowing from his forehead down to his chin. In its wake his mask changed to a red Hanya mask. Riptide, keep it non-lethal please. I'd like our new friends alive. Ino and Hinata nodded together, yes sir. Gosu waved forward, kill these brats and let's get back to our talks. Gosu himself leapt forward, a rusty blade in hand aiming for Naruto. He never saw the clone that blindsided him. Kicked by what felt like a raging bull, Gosu was sent skipping along the ground before finding his footing and looking up through the pain. There were more than a few ribs that groaned in pain. What? A clone was already before him, a glowing band of seals around its wrist. Too slow buddy. Seals just above knockout level, the clone exploded and sent Gosu further away, skipping along the blood-red water to finally catch himself on one of the many pools in the area. Groaning and levering himself to his feet, Gosu looked up to focus on what was happening. He wasn't given a reprieve however as another clone of the masked blonde was upon him. Hope you didn't think we were done. Enough. Filling his eyes with chakra, activating his Ketsuryugen and holding out a hand, I'll pull your blood from your very body. The clone smirked as it got in close, seals set slightly stronger and ready to go. Yeah, I'd have to have blood for that to work. More light and fire. Expelled from the smoke and superheated steam, Gosu was hanging onto his consciousness by a thread. Clothes singed and body aching, he used the water to cushion his fall and eventually surround himself with a defensive wall of the blood-red fluid. Fuck, that kid can hit hard. Several clones surrounded him and he began to manipulate the water directly, water spikes shooting up in an attempt to impale each of them in turn. The clones began to weave and dodge out of the way. Several took the direct route, trailing hands along the water to disrupt the chakra within and destabilizing the technique. Eventually several were close enough to release their seals, blowing away the defensive ring of water and filling the area with steam. Just what are you? Gosu frowned and looked everywhere he could in an attempt to catch at least one of the clones in a genjutsu. He just couldn't figure out why it wasn't working. Little brat sure can throw those explosions around. I can, can't I? From behind him, someone was clutching onto his shoulder. Boom baby. Finally knocked out, his body was sent careening like a rag doll. Skipping across the water like a rock, Gosu's body finally came to rest near the shoreline. A clone did have to haul him out to keep him from drowning. One down. Ino was actually having a ball, her frustrations from earlier having a new outlet as three of the opposing clan members attempted to fight her at once. It was easy to see however that they were tired, the lack of food and resources of the area really doing a number on the clan. Readying some of her paralyzing senbon as she ducked and weaved around some shoddy hand-to-hand, she took aim before letting loose on all of her targets. Hitting all three members in the upper body, she increased her earth chakra to her body. It was quick from there, as surrounded though she was, she landed a strong fist to one's solar plexus to knock him out. From there she spun into a roundhouse that caught another in the temple, and the last didn't require any more assistance from her, the poison working to put him down. Turning to assess how everyone else was doing, she laid eyes on Hinata who was sitting on a group of 5 men, all groaning and piled together. Did you really have to? Hinata looked up from where she was buffing her nails. I'm frustrated. Ino looked down to her own assailants and toed one with her boot. Yeah. I get it. Above them and having not moved from his spot, Naruto clapped his hands. Well then, anyone willing to listen to me now? Inside he was cackling. Sure was a good thing he and the girls had kept up with their training. Kurama was much of the same thought. You should kill at least one. Show them who's really boss. I'm trying to make friends, not lead with fear. Just saying, people respect a man who guts an opponent or two. Respect, or fear. Same thing to me. Naruto watched one of his clones drag the unconscious Gosu back into the square before dropping him with his group. Ino and Hinata came to stand under the archway of the building he was sitting on, both watching over the crowd quietly. En stepped forward, bowing lightly to Naruto. My lord, we have no real knowledge of the world around us anymore. You said you wanted to talk. I'd like to ask, what clan do you hail from? Naruto nodded, the Uzumaki. Hearing murmurs from the crowd again, Naruto waved a hand. You've heard of them then? En stumbled a bit as his daughter came up to latch onto his leg, looking at Ino and Hinata quietly. Yes. Before our clan was forced out of lightning we heard tales of the Uzumaki. But they were strong, unmatched in seals and barriers. Why would you need to rebuild? Easy. Naruto frowned behind his mask. An alliance between stone, cloud, and mist came down on my clan once upon a time and wiped them off the earth. A few survived, and now we're banding back together and rebuilding our home, bigger and stronger than before. En's wife whispered in his ear and he nodded. The rest of the group seemed to be fine letting him talk to the powerful outsider. And now that you know we are alive and well, what will you do? Nothing. What? Naruto patted his knee again. I meant it. My current job is to confirm whether you are alive or dead. You are alive, so that's it. From here we leave and return home. But I had another idea that I want to offer you. Seeing no one looking to interrupt him, Naruto pressed on. Join me. Join my efforts to rebuild my home and build a home of your own within my borders. The world thinks you're dead anyway. You could come with me under a new name or just claim you're a new Chinook clan. Either way is fine with me. Unless you want to stay down here, alone. Then I'll leave you be and never bother you again. En looked around to the others, wondering what such an offer would mean for them in the long term. What would you ask of us if we join you? Honestly, not much. If you wish to be ninja, then you'll do the basics. Swear your loyalty to me and defend our home in times of crisis. Civilians will be civilians and can carve out normal lives for themselves in the city. That got more surprised chattering from the others. There's a city. A woman's voice perked up. Naruto nodded, still growing, but yes, Azushio's capital is a growing city. En looked down at the defeated Gosu and then back up to Naruto himself. How do we know you won't betray us? That is why we're down here in the first place. The lightning daimyo's wife blamed us for his death once upon a time. We were chased out for her lies, exiled here to die. How do we know you won't do the same? And more, if we go with you, do you have the strength to defend us? Are you that strong? Naruto shrugged. Why would I offer you a home just to send you away later? Doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? Naruto eventually raised his mask, figuring having an actual face to show would do more to build some trust. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I want to build a more just world for everyone. That includes you, a clan who was purposefully left behind. Don't stay down here killing each other. Come with me. Heck, if you like the hot spring atmosphere so much, I'm sure one of the islands has a set of springs we can drop you on for privacy. And as far as my strength and defending you, well, his eyes flashed once. There's a village-sized crater somewhere in the land of fire you'll have to go visit if you want an idea of what my strength is capable of. En turns back to the others, missing his daughter waving at the brown-masked Ino who waves back to her. A new home. Out of the land of hot water. How could we leave? It would be a treacherous undertaking. We'll die if we stay here much longer. Either from each other or the environment. Food is getting harder to come by. Enoshiro nodded before turning back to Naruto. If we wanted to leave, how would we make it to Azushio? Naruto points at himself. You let me take care of that. If you want to go, I'll make arrangements to get everyone there safely. That's my promise to you. You'll have to endure some temporary housing at first, but eventually you'll be allowed to build your own clan home in a suitable place. En pauses as around him some of the others are beginning to get somewhat excited about the idea of leaving this hellish place behind. Even he felt much the same. But freedom meant the possibility of vengeance, most assuredly against the Uchiha clan, the clan that had helped banish them to this place originally. Looking up, he locks gazes with the blue and purple-eyed boy. You say you want to be better than your ancestors. I have one last question. If you had the choice, would you forgive those that wronged your clan? Naruto had to sit and think about that one for a moment. It wasn't like he hadn't thought about it before now. Cloud, stone, mist. They had ganged up to destroy his clan for good. Could he forgive that today? The real question was, were they the same villages as back then? I think it's a yes and a no. If the village has changed its ways, worked to better itself and prevent those sort of tragedies from happening, I could see myself forgiving them. But if they operate much the same as their predecessors, then probably not. In the end, the people who made the call to destroy my clan are either old or dead. The people who live now have nothing to do with it. That hopefully gives you some insight in how I think. It does. En bowed low, his wife hurrying to do the same. My lord. I am at your service. Around him the rest of the clan was following his lead, bowing low to Naruto. From his cross-legged position, Naruto outwardly smiled thinly while mentally he sighed. Well shit. It's that Jugo boy all over again. I keep forgetting outside of Konoha everyone else has the mentality that might makes right. I kicked him around and now they'll follow me. Curse of being strong, I suppose. You love this. Absolutely. Maybe they'll build a statue of you. Kami, I hope not. Naruto shook his head as he made a clone who immediately saluted and flashed away. Below, the knocked out members were beginning to wake as well. You should give it some thought, come to an agreement with everyone. En shook his head. We were at our wits' end. If you hadn't come before us, we may very well have started killing each other. No. This is a better chance for us than what we were going to do. Which was the truth. As Gosu groaned and shook himself awake, someone rolled him onto his back and helped him up. You're alive, Gosu. Barely. Kid packs a wallop and shrugged off genjutsu like a real master. Looking up, Gosu tries to bow as well. We're yours. I'm a man of my word. Naruto nods. Gather whichever supplies, clothing and possessions that you need and can carry. Here he made roughly 500 clones for the 150-odd clan members he could see and ignored their surprised gasps. My clones will take you away when you're ready to go. You'll be under a probation period for some months. As long as you don't cause any trouble, you'll be fine. So saying, his first clone flashed back before it dispelled. Memories showing that Tsunami was happy at the news and had plenty of room for the incoming clan. Naruto nodded. Welcome to Rizushio. En nodded. We will make you proud, Lord Uzumaki. Will you report us to the hot springs, Daimyo? Naruto shook his head. What's to report? Soon enough there won't be a Chinook clan in the land of hot water. Seeing the boy affix his mask again, back in the white Onoman mask form, the Chinook clan watched the group of three bound away and disappear into the mists. En sighed with some relief. Well, fate has really thrown us a curveball, yes. Gosu nodded. All the fight drained out of him. Wanna fill me in on what's happening? Around him he watched clan members returning home quickly, some he could see packing supplies. En motioned to the sea of clones that watched over them curiously. In short, we're doing what you said. He beat you, so we're going to follow him. Lord Uzumaki has offered us a place within his borders of Azushio. Huh. Gosu looked at the man not long ago he was planning to beat into the dirt. Guess it's better than killing ourselves, yeah. Absolutely. They all turned to begin packing for their move, unsure of their future but feeling like this might be a second chance at life for the clan. En paused. Do you think we should change our name? We can talk about it, as a clan. It was time for a new beginning, maybe that meant a new clan and a real fresh start. B. Naruto stood before Taida, the daimyo of the land of hot water, mask firmly in place while Ino and Hinata flanked him. He had given a report stating that the Chinook clan was nowhere to be found in the Valley of Hell. Standing before the samurai and ninja guards calmly, Naruto was thinking more about appeasing Ino and Hinata than this meeting at the moment. Taida nodded as he thought the situation over. At the least, we have real confirmation that the clan is no longer in the valley. How would you describe the area? This meant there was a chance they could utilize the space for a new resort. Hellish, miserable, lacking greenery or animals. Naruto kept it short and sweet. Taida sighed and nodded. Just as well. A new spring might have meant a new resort location, but it doesn't sound like the kind of place we could have used. I thank you, one who sees the truth. I'm happy you accepted this request so quickly. I aim to please. Naruto, however, had an eyebrow quirked at the new title the daimyo addressed him as. He really needed to pick up a bingo book soon. As I told you before, our country is truly pacifist, so we may have other requests for you in the future. However, because you completed this in such a timely manner, I have a gift for you. Taida motioned to a younger functionary, a young boy, who walked up to Naruto and presented a scroll that Naruto took quietly. A missive, to be presented at any resort in our country to allow free room and board on my dime. You are always welcome here. Hopefully this will encourage you to visit more and help foster relations between our nations. Naruto could almost physically feel the looks Ino and Hinata were giving him. I'm sure we can arrange something. But we will take you up on the offer for some downtime. Naruto and the girls bow deeply before turning and walking away as the daimyo dismisses them. Outside and making their way away from the daimyo's palace here, Ino and Hinata are again giving Naruto hard looks from behind their masks. Eventually Naruto sighs and nods. I promised, we'll find a resort and relax. 2 days minimum. Ino already had a brochure out and was pointing out choices to Hinata. This one apparently is good for your skin. This one is isolated a bit on a mountainside, should be quiet and secluded. This one apparently leaves visitors with silky smooth hair. Naruto groaned, where did you even get that? Stupid question, just keep walking. Ino poked him and turned back to Hinata. Oh look, this one is known as the Lover's Den. Apparently they claim lovers who stay here have long and happy marriages. Hinata stabbed the paper with her finger, that's the one. Ino thrust the paper into his face, that's where we're going. Hi. He looked and got the general idea of where they were going. Well, let's get to it then. Looks like it's not too far actually. They all nodded to each other and took to the trees. The girls practically radiating excitement while Naruto himself wouldn't admit to it, but he was excited as well. Relaxing outside of home would be a new thing for them. Within the hour they were dropping back to the road in front of a well-cared-for inn and bath. Several stories tall and tucked away in the forest, it exuded an aura of cozy comfort. They removed their masks, sealing anything away that might identify them as ninja as much as they could. Eventually they walked inside, where a kind-looking older woman watched them walk in with a smile. Welcome to the Urashima Inn. How many rooms will you need? Naruto walked forward towards the reception desk, offering up the scroll from the daimyo first, just one will do. Peeking at the scroll and seeing the seal there, it takes her all of a few seconds to give it back to the boy and clap her hands harshly 3 times. Within moments 4 women appear behind her, all with smiles, of course my lord. These are my daughters, they'll escort you to your room and get you situated. Please, enjoy your stay. With that Naruto, Ino, and Hinata are led through the halls of the inn and up several flights of stairs by the group of women. All had similar looks, deep blue yukata, brown hair tied in buns, slightly plump faces and brown eyes. Normal and homely looking, Naruto decided. They were eventually led to the top floor where there was only one suite available. One of the girls opened the door while 2 entered to begin opening windows, and the last motion for Naruto and the girls to follow everyone inside. If Naruto could describe the space, it would easily be the most luxurious place he had set foot in. Everything had a red and gold tint to it, the wood floor and beams evenly waxed and looking freshly cleaned, plush green rugs covered the floors in places, while the space in front of them was a sitting and receiving space with a low table and a cushioned sitting area. There was a balcony off to the left, which one of the girls was sliding open the doors and airing the room out. Ahead of them one of the girls was opening double doors to bring them into their bedroom. Walking along and marveling at the domain, Naruto noted to the right was a very large 4-post bed that was again trimmed in reds and golds, full of fluffy-looking pillows and blankets. On their left there was a wall with several paintings depicting beautiful landscapes, though as they kept walking they could see it blocked off the bathroom, which itself looks to be a well-furnished space. One of the girls in the lead again was opening up another set of doors. These however led to another balcony, on which was a smaller outdoor tub, though it looked large enough to fit 4 people comfortably. Turning around, the girl addressed Naruto with a deep bow, "You will not be disturbed as long as you stay. If you need one of us, please return to the front room and clap loudly 4 times. Your privacy is our main concern and we will not respond to requests from the bedroom. I hope you understand." Ino jumped forward, "We do and appreciate your hospitality." Inside she was already making plans and enjoying the royal treatment. Maybe taking this mission was the best thing they could have done if it led to stuff like this. The woman nodded, "My name is Matsumi, please enjoy your stay. Tonight we are planning on a food sampler of roasted boar and a fried chicken and vegetable stir fry, if that is all right." Naruto nods, "Sounds great." Matsumi nods again, "We will bring your servings towards the evening then. All meals will be brought to you along with a list for the next meal. All of the baths are available to you, though right now the mixed baths are not available. They should be available by tomorrow. By your leave." Seeing Naruto and the others didn't have any questions, she and her sisters left the room as silently as they entered, closing the door behind them. Naruto turned slowly to each other the girls, sensing a scary aura from each other them, too. Ino placed a hand on his shoulder, "Relax, we aren't going to jump you right away." Hinata placed a hand on his other shoulder, "We're going to explore the baths a bit first." She leaned into his ear, "Get all nice and clean first." Giggling, the girls left for the bathroom, looking to change and set out. Naruto himself just sighed and walked out to the balcony. The view was of the steamy forests of the land of hot water. It was nice, a view that younger him never would have even considered he'd be able to have. Behind him he turned to see Hinata and Ino dressed in red bath robes trimmed with gold flowers. Both girls winked at him before leaving the room together. He should probably do the same now that he considered it. They were here to relax and enjoy themselves. And the hot springs here were famous. Mindset, Naruto went to change and go explore. Eventually Naruto found himself settling into a very warm outdoor spring enclosed behind the inn. Relaxing with a heavy sigh, he idly looked over to the only other visitor he had met so far. A dark-skinned teen with white hair, the guy seemed to be enjoying himself to the fullest. Naruto raised a hand as they locked eyes finally. Yo. Heya. Naruto leans to look up into the trees, needs to have a peaceful rest every now and then, isn't it? Omoi didn't recognize the kid who joined him, but he seemed nice enough. Probably some rich kid if he could afford this place. Didn't want to upset rich kids. That usually led to problems, which could lead to complaints, which could lead to failed missions or. Omoi sighed and nodded, perhaps, peace is good to have. Omoi's mind changed tracks and he began to mumble, though if every day was this peaceful, we'd get lazy. Becoming lazy would eventually mean we'd get weak. The saying goes, weak mean create hard times and hard times lead to suffering and. Naruto can't help himself, bursting out into a laugh as he waves a hand at the confused-looking teen. Sorry. You just think differently than most, don't ya? Naruto held out a hand. I'm Naruto. Omoi chuckled, reaching out and shaking the other boy's hand. Omoi. Sorry, my thoughts get away from me sometimes and I can't help it really. Naruto shakes his head. That's okay. Better than not thinking at all. That's what I keep telling my friends. No one listens to me. Naruto relaxes back again. Well, I for one think peace wouldn't be so bad. So long as we never forget the hard times. Constant reminder, maybe that could work. It's never the same as really experiencing pain, however. Omoi thought to life in the Cloud Village, training, struggling, fighting. Naruto nods at that. Of course not, but I don't think everything needs to be experienced firsthand in order to learn the lesson. You didn't need to watch your whole family die in order to understand the pain of loss after all. Perhaps. The boys settled into a comfortable silence while over the springs divided they could hear the giggles of rowdy girls. They sound like they're having fun. Naruto raised an eyebrow. Friends of yours? Yeah, we're on a trip looking for another friend of ours, got separated. It wasn't like Omoi could let slip they were looking for a ninja with a growing list of accomplishments. What the hell was this new title as well, this, one who sees the truth, name? So pretentious. Naruto could hear the hearty laugh of Ino now. Sounds like my girls joined yours. Your girls? Naruto nodded. My wives. Sounds like a story. You have no idea. Over the wall Ino and Hinata are sitting across from a relaxed group of Simui, Yugito and Karui. Karui however is standing, pointing dramatically at Ino. You're fit as hell. What's your routine? Ino preened a bit, raising her arms above her head and stretching. Lots of construction actually. We're in the middle of renovating our clan home, so we've been busy. She couldn't come out and say they were rebuilding Azushio. As far as anyone knew, the Uzumaki clan could be anywhere in the nations. It's been fun, if a little dirty. A girl needs to clean up and feel beautiful. Ino eyed the pale beauty that was Simui. Speaking of, what do I gotta do to have clear skin like yours? Simui leans back further. It's a secret. Finally having enough time to relax fully, she agreed with the others. Some time off would be good and already she was loosening up some. Hinata smiled. I've heard there's a spring around here that's really good for your skin. Have you found it? Yugito shook her head. Not yet, but if we do we'll pass the note along if we see you again. Yugito watched the pale-eyed girl smile and nod, wondering if she was a Hyuga. After some thought she decided Hinata couldn't be. Her pleasant demeanor and gentle attitude didn't mesh up with the high and mighty clan. Plus, she'd have at least a half-dozen guards with her if she was. Especially this close to lightning. Never mind the shade of her eyes was wrong. Maybe she was a very distant cousin. Ino however is pointing at Simui again, so she keeps her secrets. You're just like Hinata, keeping all the best stuff for yourself. She eyed the not-so-hidden bust of the short-haired blonde. While Karui came over and slung an arm over her shoulders. Karui comically had tears running down her face. There's no shame in being more modest. Why, if anything were closer to the truth than they are. Ino giggled, joining Karui, you're right. Who needs a large chest? Why, having a smaller chest just means our hearts are easier to get to is all. Both girls laughed while Hinata sighed and shook her head. You're hopeless, Ino. Sumui nodded, they both are. Yugito tuned everyone out and just let the hot water seep into her very bones. A woman could get used to this. In her mind the Matatabi grumbled, so, do you want? Yugito shook her head as she could already tell the demon wanted to spoil her mood. Nope. Relaxing. Wanna keep it that way. But, you said earlier you. Nope. Vacation. Vacation. Fine. Whatever you say, kitten. The Biju would probably get yelled at later, but that wasn't her fault. She'd thrown her container's words right back at her later. Hinata giggles at Karu's and Ino's antics before turning to Sumui. Forgive me if this is prying, but what brings you to the springs? Sumui shrugs, looking for a lost friend of ours is all. We always seem to be a few steps behind him though. Oh, anyone we might know. Sumui shakes her head, civilians wouldn't know anything about the maelstrom after all, doubtful. He's a real hothead and a loudmouth. You'd know it if he was in the area. All their intel pointed at the maelstrom being an explosion expert with a loud and boisterous attitude. Cocky and yet, unforgiving. Well, I wish you luck on your journey. I hope you enjoy your vacation as well. This world offers so few peaceful moments as is. Hinata nods and sinks into the calm waters, ignoring Ino trying to get a blushing Karui into a wrestling match. She needed to save her energy for later after all, Naruto was the only one she planned on wrestling with. Lime, lemon content ahead, ye be warned. True to her thoughts, not even an hour later were she and Ino back in the room with Naruto. The mission of the evening. Wear each other out. The three were tangled together on the bed, Naruto between Ino's toned legs while Hinata kneeled next to them, kissing and caressing Naruto himself. Hinata was enjoying the attention of Naruto's hands on her, one of which had come up to cup her breasts gently while she kissed and entwined her tongue with his. They had all been rather worked up all day today, probably from the anticipation of the event to come. So saying, Hinata shuddered a bit as Naruto's fingers trailed over her skin and reached lower on her body. Eyes crossing as he brushed something sensitive, she wrapped her arms around his neck to keep herself upright. "Na Naruto," moaning in his ear, said boy just grinned and enjoyed the view before him. Ino was already lost, eyes rolling up into her head as their bodies melded together, he'd have to remember that for teasing later. Maybe, if they didn't find some way to get him back. Groaning as Ino's legs locked around him tighter, he considered maybe teasing might be a bad idea. All three paused however as they heard a knock at the door. Growling, Naruto turned to make a clone to tell whoever it was to shove off. Hinata calmed him, bringing him back in for a passionate kiss before pulling away and redressing in her robe. "I'll deal with it, beloved. You and Ino just keep it down." Naruto chuckled, throwing Ino's legs over his shoulders. "I'll do my best." The view of her with her robe half off and hair down was more invigorating than any workout he'd probably ever done before in his life. No wonder his teachers were such perverts. Ino shook her head, not what she meant, she had to bite down on a finger in order to keep from screaming. She had been wrong, he was much larger than she originally thought. He was pushing and poking deep within her core in a way that was making her mind hazy. Hinata shook her head, robe on and tied, she left the bedroom and moved to the room's front door. She wondered what the staff would want with them. Maybe it was dinner, they did say they would be bringing it later. Shrugging and opening the door she was met with a taller and much more muscular dark-skinned man flanked by Sumui and Yugito. "Oh, hello again. Did you need something?" She and Ino didn't tell them their room number, did they? She couldn't remember at the moment, mind still on what she wanted back in their bedroom. B was caught flat-footed as he was currently faced with a shorter blue-haired girl. Face flushed, the girl was all smiles and politeness, though none of the older ninja had a doubt about just what she had been doing. Sorry. Yugito shook her head, they obviously had the wrong place and Gyuki had been wrong somehow. "Sorry for the intrusion. We were looking for our friend and thought he might be here, but we obviously have the wrong room." Yugito gave the girl a once-over, her obvious arousal showing through the thin robe. She most certainly wasn't a ninja. They were doing their best to ignoring the skin-on-skin smacking sounds coming from deeper in the room, which were increasing in tempo and volume. Hinata bowed lightly. Oh, no worries, I do hope you find them soon. Kage-sama. 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 Ino's voice rang out, the last coming out as a wail that tapered off. Hinata was blushing heavily, legs rubbing together as she closed the door slowly. My apologies, I really must be going. I hope you find your friend. Door shut, it did little to muffle the noises that started back up within moments. Samui began pulling the big man away. You were ogling a Cage's woman, wanna guess how much trouble that might put you in? Yugito sighed and followed after them, and you got the wrong place. I know you're lonely and all, but come on. B shook himself, no. No. Gyuki said he felt the Kyuubi's chakra. More like he felt his pervert senses tingling. Samui sighed deeply and kept pushing. Whoever that really was sure sounded like he was good at what he did, however. That didn't have the usual notes of faking like most women might put out. Yugito was quiet, however, the Matatabi yowling in rage and demanding her attention. What do you want, you mangy cat? Go back in there and mount that stud. I thought I was the one who was hard up. Shut up. That's prime beef back there. Go get some. You're hopeless. I'm horny, there's a difference. Tuning out her demon again, the group left with their own thoughts on the matter. Never realizing just how close they were to their target. Said target had his arms wrapped around a delirious Hinata as he pressed her against a wall. On the bed, a tired and worn-out Ino panted for breath while her body trembled and she tried to regain her energy. Hinata herself wrapped her arms around his neck and kissed him sporadically as heat built up within her. I love you, Naruto. I love you. Gasping as he squeezed her rear tightly, the boy grinned and kissed along her neck and jaw. I love you too, Hinata. Beginning his motions again, he leaned back a bit. What do you say? Skip dinner and keep at it all night. Hinata nodded quickly, unable to voice her opinion as something coiling inside of her was about to come undone. Feeling cheeky, Naruto leaned into her ear. Guess you're right, gonna have to make you scream my name before the night is over. Naruto. The night would be a long one. Leaving Naruto tired, yes, but mentally buzzing for the rest of the day. At least the staff was nice enough to leave them breakfast, several portions more than normal by the look of it. So thoughtful. End lemon content. B. Jugo had decided that joining with his lord Naruto Uzumaki had probably been the best decision he had made in a long time. Here he was, traveling through tea country with two beautiful women while they made their way to their old clan home. Their initial mission of letter delivery had been an easy one to finish, along with some assurances that spring would be doing its best to help out the recovering country. Of course, mentally he knew Kotohime was completely off limits. Naruto had laid claim to her. Kin, however, seemed attainable. The shy girl had been skittish around him ever since her sister had thrown her at him in the bath. But they had started talking and he could say happily that they seemed to be getting closer over time. At the moment, however, all three had paused as in front of them was an angry-looking Iwa kunoichi standing in the middle of the road. Flanked by another kunoichi who looked exasperated but resigned to her fate. The angry kunoichi pointed a shaking finger at the trio. I finally found you, Maelstrom. I've had enough and I'm going to stomp you into the ground once and for all. Kuretsuki hadn't seen the Maelstrom's picture in a while, having lost her bingo book some time ago. But this had to be him. Orange shirt and bright orange hair. Had to meet the description. Summoning a spike of earth and readying to throw it at her target, she nearly missed her current partner trying to interrupt her. Her companion, Suzumbaki, was tapping her superior on the shoulder. Sure, she had wanted to bring her clan back into the village's good graces and had jumped at the chance to do so with this mission. But it was turning out to be a major hassle. Who gets lost on a one-way road? How is that even possible? Lady Kuretsuki, this isn't the Maelstrom. Jugo himself nods. Slowly and keeping his hands visible, he unseals a bingo book from his pouch and turns it to his lord's page. He turns the book around to show the pair. That looks nothing like me. Kuretsuki looks the page over, then once again just to be sure, before sighing and dropping her arm to her side. Of all the rotten luck. Sorry. She starts to scratch her head. Guess I'm terrorizing you for no reason. Sorry about that. Turning and giving Suzumbaki an irritated look, she motions for them to leave. Come on, your bees obviously don't know what they're doing. So we're going back to using my intuition. Suzumbaki had been told to follow Kuretsuki's orders to the letter after all. So she shrugged and followed along. Yes sir. Bowing once more to the trio, the pair of girls left quickly back the way they came. Left alone on the scenic bit of road, Jugo and the others all looked at each other with curious gazes. Kin opened up first. What do you think Lord Naruto did to make her so angry? Jugo thought about what he knew about his lord and friend. Perhaps he defeated her mercifully in combat. He doesn't seem like the type to kill needlessly. Kotohime considers that, it makes sense I suppose. Or maybe he spurned her advances. She seems to lack anything my Uzumaki-sama would find attractive in a woman. She did look rather boyish after all. It's always possible Naruto mistook her for one and maybe that is why she's so upset. The kami were fickle with their blessings after all and that poor girl seemed lacking. Jugo nodded as that was possible as well. None of the women in the dubbed Fox Den could be considered anything less than absolutely lovely or womanly. You would not mistake one of Naruto's wives for a boy. Saying a prayer for the upset woman, the group continued on towards the Fuma clan, Kotohime egging Kin on to talk to the taller man in their company. Behind them and gaining distance Kurotsuki is questioning Suzumbaki. Are you sure the maelstrom has been through here? Yes my lady. My beast caught his scent and he's been all over this country. Kurotsuki sighs, you better be right. Remember, if you want your family to regain my grandfather's favor you need to do exactly what I say. That includes finding the maelstrom. Suzumbaki bows, motioning for her bees to spread out again. Of course my lady. I'll follow your orders to the letter. No more, no less. So the prissy princess wanted to throw her weight around. Fine. She'd do everything exactly as she said. Even if her bees were telling her the previous group smelled of the maelstrom. They weren't him, so she didn't need to tell the other girl. No skin off her nose. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.